Hello guys, I hope you're doing well today. I thought I'd make a video comparing the Thrustmaster rims and the Fanatec rims, the ones that I've got my hands on, and just compare the differences, because basically when it comes to the CSL Elite or the Thrustmaster gear, say the T300 or PC Racer, they're very comparable against each other. But no one really compares the rims, the difference in quality and how they are, because the price difference between them is quite drastic. So let's see if it makes any difference. Alright guys, let's get into the video. So let's first compare then the Fanatec BMW GT2 rim and the Thrustmaster Ferrari rim that I got. This one is a plastic wheel rim, and I know you can get one that's Alcantara. But let's compare the size and the button layout and see what differences there are. On the outset, the Thrustmaster Ferrari rim looks really nice, but it only has 8 buttons and a knob which basically goes left or right, which you can use for adjustment. The actual rim is pretty small in comparison to the Fanatec rim, which we'll see in a moment. The actual design is very simple, but it's elegant in its design, and it is a fantastic round rim, because I actually feel like the small diameter is a good all-rounder for those who play rally games and those who step in to other cars like a GT or a touring car. I want to just step through sims. It's definitely great for that. The button quality, I think it is pretty good for its price point, but there's no click to them, so you do feel the push, but there's no sort of like really high grade snap to them. The shifters, I'd say the shifters are one of the best points on this rim, because basically they give you a real nice snap, so that's fantastic when it's coming to shifters on a rim. So now let's have a look at the Fanatec GT2 BMW rim. When you first see this rim, you do think to yourself, wow, look how chunky that is. Because look at the back, you can see how much bigger it is than the GT2 rim. So let's have a look at the buttons now. So straight away, when you look at the buttons, you can see that there is more of them, being that there is 11 buttons in total. Because not only do you have these 11 buttons, you have 2 joysticks, which is great for navigation on games as well. They feel nice to press, and you can really feel the quality in these buttons and joysticks. And an added benefit is the fact that you can buy button caps from Fanatec and basically add stickers and customise to the layout you need personally. When it comes to the shifters, I definitely do think this is a weakness of Fanatec, and the reason why they've switched to magnetic shifters for their new rim, say the 2020 F1 rim and onwards, because when you shift with the BMW rim, there really is a lack of positive click coming from them, so it can give you a dull feel when you're shifting. But the weight comparison between these wheels is night and day, being that the fact that the Fanatec wheel is basically nearly made of entirely metal, possibly instead of just the Alcantara rim. So let's have a comparison inside then, put them face to face, and this will really help you see the difference in the Fanatec and the Thrustmaster wheel rims, just to see how big the BMW one is. So as you can see, this really does give you a good comparison on how much bigger the BMW rim is. And I would actually say that this affects driving, because you basically need higher force feedback, being that the wheel diameter is bigger, which is to be expected. But it really does make a difference, I feel, in how you drive as well. But the Fanatec rim is much heavier than the Thrustmaster rim, which definitely adds weight to the fact, that you would use a lighter rim on, say, a wheelbase which has lighter force feedback, which the Thrustmaster does have compared to the Fanatec. But overall, I think quality to price performance, they're about the same. So now let's put the F1 Esports Fanatec rim against the Thrustmaster TM open wheel rim and see the difference, because the Thrustmaster TM open rim is £112 right now, and the Fanatec one is £224, so it is exactly half price. So let's see if this is made up in quality at all. So let's start off this time with the Fanatec rim and go over the button layout right now. Now the bundle I got with this rim was the CSL Elite PS4 version, and it's basically the buttons are all mapped for the PlayStation. So the three at the bottom are like share options in the PlayStation middle button, and then from left to right you have X, circle, square, triangle, all the usual stuff, and then the sticks act as basically your analog sticks, and then the two middle buttons act as L3 and R3, which is really useful and great, the fact that they came with button caps and they're all labelled. I'm not too sure if you buy this wheel separately if that's the case, but that's definitely a plus for this wheel. Construction wise, if you get this wheel for the first time, you really are happy with your purchase. Being all metal and Alcantara grips, it feels amazing and the quality is ace. It's up there being the top rim I think you can get, and there's a reason why it's the esports rim. The buttons have a great tactile feel, pretty much the standard like the GT2 wheel BMW rim. Now let's move on to the shifters. You've probably seen the footage, I'm clicking them a lot. And this has the same problem as the BMW rim. There is a slight click, but nowhere near the Thrustmaster feel. So definitely I'd invest in some magnetic shifter mods for this if you want to basically have a firmer click. This is definitely usable, it's not horrible, but it's something that you might want to upgrade if you want a stiffer shift. Now let's have a look at Thrustmaster's TM open wheel. Now when I first saw this rim, I could not believe the price point. I was shocked at how low it was. Now because I spoke about the shifters on the Fanatec wheel, let's have a listen to the Thrustmaster TM wheel shifters to give you a comparison of what I mean. You can really hear how more tactile the click is and how much louder it is. That may be a nuisance to some people, but it gives you a nicer feel for sure when you're shifting. But let's have a look at some downsides to this rim compared to the esports Fanatec rim. One thing that's definitely noticeable again compared to the Fanatec gear is how light this real rim is compared to the F1 one. It is incredibly light, you could chuck this and not even notice it. But I have a feeling that is because Thrustmaster does not have as strong a motor as any of the Fanatec gear. Now the Alcantara on this rim is really nice, but I do think it's easily wearable, as I wore this out in under a month, so that's something to keep note. So now let's have a look at the buttons. Now Thrustmaster, to keep the price down, have basically kept the exact same layout as their open wheel Ferrari rim, all that's on all their rims really. So one downside to this being that is none of these buttons are labelled for PS4, so you'd have to find someone that does say a sticker pack for Xbox PS4, because otherwise you have to do, which I did, which is basically get tiny pieces of sticky back and write what each of them are, which is fine for PC because you can map them all, but for most PlayStation games you have to basically know what the buttons are in general for other options. This obviously would apply for Xbox as well. Button feel, nothing good, nothing bad about them. They're just good buttons. They just do the job. You wouldn't say there's a good firm click. They're just a bit squidgy. But for the price, this rim I think is fantastic. To basically have an open wheel rim and or say a round rim and this open wheel rim really does, I think, give Thrustmaster an up, being on, say, not the budget end of sim racing, but in the middle, which is really their forte, being in the middle of the pack. And the upside of Fanatec, the quality is insane. It's basically a next level, which you would expect for products being a lot more expensive. So final thoughts between these rims. Well, do not feel that you are missing out by only having the Thrustmaster. If you want to upgrade to a Fanatec wheelbase, upgrade because of the wheelbase, not the wheel rims, because basically price to performance or price to quality wise, they're basically equal, being that Thrustmaster rims are so much cheaper. So hopefully guys you've liked this little comparison between the rims. Like and subscribe as I'm new to this, but this Billy Goat Boy signing out. See you guys on the track. Thanks for watching.